Welcome to ROQ Shop Talk. Our show talks best practices, fun anecdotes, and the latest cutting-edge technology in our field to kick your screen printing gears into hyperdrive. Today's episode features Printing with Pride. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be right back.
I want to welcome everybody back to ROQ Shop Talk, your one-stop rock shop where we talk all things screen printing. Today we are discussing Printing with Pride with Mike Kon of Synergy Media. I'm ROQ US President Ross Hunter. Alongside us here is our creative producer, Mr. Merrill Caps. How's it going, everyone?
Fantastic. How are you, sir?
Great. I'm doing good. Good.
I mean, you have some big news, right?
I just had a baby, baby girl, Arabella Gray. She joined us last Monday. So trying to keep track of time right now, stay awake and keep things rolling, but she's beautiful. She's healthy. We're back at home. So, exciting times. And, we're also preparing for a major 3-day heat wave. That's why I got this flash dryer over my head today.
Over your head.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 113 in the Pacific Northwest
That's crazy.
on Sunday. So everyone is freaked out. They've all hit every Lowe's and Walmart, every fan in the Pacific Northwest has been purchased. There's no air conditioners. I mean, it's chaos out here.
Pretty warm, but Mike, you look like you're chilling.
Yeah, like I told you guys last time, I'm hanging out with our friends in Maui. No, it's just just one of the backgrounds, but
Nice.
that sounds like fun. It's actually kind of like rainy here today, so but not too hot, which is nice.
I would take some of that rain over 113 degree heat.
Oh, no, totally.
I moved out of Southern California for a reason, and now I get to feel that fun heat wave come back. Let's kick this off. Let's talk about some updates. Pretty exciting podcast we have going on right now. Again, we're talking Printing with Pride. We're here with Mike with Synergy, but Mike is also joining us on our first leg of the ROQ tour, which we actually started at his facility where he's at now.
Today,
and
right now.
Yeah, today, literally today, right now. And did you see the bus?
Yes, actually, I can see it from my window. Ryan got here maybe 2-3 hours ago, so it's right outside. We had the official tour, and kind of like know where things are, and hopefully. Hopefully we'll know what to do tomorrow. The film crew actually they recorded everything, so we can, I guess, go back and make sure that we're pushing all the right buttons, which is great. It's a good thing.
Why?
That's awesome because you're driving. You're gonna drive.
I'm driving. Yeah, I'm driving.
You're driving Roxy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's going to New York tomorrow, so it should be fun.
That's
awesome. Great.
Well, before we
got the tour. We got the tour kicked off.
Tour kicked off, oh my gosh, it's finally happening. 1.5 years of talking about it, and today it's happening. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be so rad. We're going all over across America, so many different shops. We're going to see you. We're going to film you. We're going to see you rocking. It's going to be so great. So hit us up, hashtag ROQUS Tour. Also, aside from the Auto Ready score that you can find at ROQ US, we're also working on a new ebook about fulfillment and showing how automating fulfillment can completely transform your business. So look for that in a couple of weeks. And Mike, thank you so much for doing this with us, especially in the middle of the not just the tour kicking off, but in the middle of your workday, the middle of the shoot day. And please say hello to our crew there. In person. Thank you for joining us, Vincent and pals. Honored to have you a part of this, and excited for everyone at home to see what they're capturing on the road. So as you were, thank you.
Yeah, can't wait. Well, let's kick this thing off, Mike. You've been with us on another podcast or two, but for those listeners out there who don't know you, why don't you give us just a quick introduction of yourself and Synergy Media, where you're located, and kind of just a little bit of maybe about your business and what you guys specialize in before we kick off this episode, because I think we'll get into how what you do ties into Printing with Pride, along with, our ROQ Together movement and a lot of other movements that are out there in this country doing great things.
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned earlier, my name is Mike, or, Marcus Kon. I'm the founder of Synergy Media, which is a design, merchandising, and marketing company based out of Columbus, Ohio. We also, part of our business is called Eco Print Lab, which is the screen printing, portion of the business. We are a nationally accredited LGBTQ. I'm a gay man, that's kind of like how we, joined the ROQ Together movement.
Awesome, man. And you guys do a lot of printing specific to different causes, correct?
Totally. So apart from what we do for our clients, we have, in-house brands, and one of those, has been around for 10 years. It's kind of like a social cause, brand that deals with anti-racism, LGBT rights, and women's rights. Nice. We create viral video content that drives people to our website, and then through the sale of our apparel, we raise awareness and money, for different nonprofits that are specific to those three cause areas.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Gosh, I mean, it's been almost about a year since you were here with us last, and about a year since, I guess, on that episode is when everything started happening with those conversations to inspire what has eventually become ROQ Together, and now kind of shifting to something bigger into U.N.I.T.E.Together. So I guess I would love to hear what your thoughts are, how it's evolved so far, how you feel it's growing, and where you'd like to see it. Any critiques from your experience, how we can keep improving and getting the message out to as many people as possible.
I love kind of like the idea behind a movement, and, as we've discussed it before on previous, Zooms, is that I think it's really important, to get different perspectives, from a diverse group of people within our industry. I think I mentioned it before, I personally believe that the industry is it looks a certain way, for a majority of those of us that are, in the industry. And, as you said, as one of the people previously said it, on a podcast, like adding that flavor and, an input from, shop owners, and founders that are either, LGBT or, African-American or women or, Asian American, whatever it may be. But again, that come from sort of minority perspective. I think it's really important to, to kind of like just showcase that. Right. And I think that's what you guys are doing with, with the whole movement, and I hope that through it in over the time that we can really kind of like expose people and, to a different perspective,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And that kind of speaks to how this has evolved since the original idea of our first pledge, and now shifting to this bigger idea of U.N.I.T.E.Together, which is an acrostic poem for understanding new ideas through empathy. It's going to make it blossom so much bigger. What would you say to anyone who is kind of on the fence or know why they should take the pledge and why it's important and what the badge means to you as a business owner, as well as consumer?
Sure. I mean, bringing, somebody taking the actual pledge reaffirms not just to their, their staff, like people within the industry, but also to, their customers, right? Where the company itself kind of stands, it you often see, when you come into businesses, their BBB, approval rating, and, you'll see there, they belong to, to a chamber or something, but, being able to, walk into a business and again, know what, that symbol represents, I think is going to be really cool over time, knowing that you're, that you're working with, with a business that, that treats everybody fairly, that, that has things in place that, to protect not only their employees, but, those that they work with, no matter what background they come from, I think is like hugely important. You know what I mean? And I think it's important for people to be vocal, and, they need that visibility. Like, people need to know that, unfortunately, we've gone through a period over the last 4 years where things were kind of like really hectic, and, this sense of togetherness and empathy was lacking in like a huge way, and it stemmed from the top, and unfortunately kind of like poisoned a lot of the population. So, I think making that actual effort to, to show people like where you stand, I think matters.
For sure.
Absolutely. It's interesting. We have a job posted right now on Indeed. I posted it last Monday, and for those of you hiring, this is a side note, just know that people do actually want to work right now. I know we're all reading in the news that, everyone's quitting their jobs and no one wants to work anymore. I have had 30 applicants in the last 3 days. I've interviewed, I think, 8 or 9 people so far. People are eager to work. But that being said, U.N.I.T.E.Together and ROQ.Together came up in one of my interviews, and I was meeting with a gentleman who, by the way, crushed his interview, and I'm excited to give him a second one next week, and hopefully he'll come on board. But, one of the things I always ask people is, have you checked us out? If you looked at our website, what interests you, what excites you about, this company? And I actually got a comment about our movement and about what we stand for. And that, it was really, for him, it was exciting to see a company that didn't mind putting the badge right there on the homepage and saying, hey, this is what we stand for. This is what we believe in. And that's what excited him. He said, I want to be a part of, a capitalist, organization that's doing more than just making money. And I think that drives home your point, Mike, and just by having it and doing something about it, we're actively doing it. It's not just a symbol. It's something that we're working on all the time. And it shows in what we're doing really does attract people. So I will tell people, like, if you do care, if you do want to be a part of, making the world a better place, do it. Do it and then show people, because then when you go to hire, when you go, to Mike's point, your customers are going to see it. Other people care about doing good in the world. And the more that you can put that out there, I think, the better response you're going to get from all standpoints of your business. So that was really well put. And I just want to kind of inject that thing that happened this week, because it was cool to hear, said with someone who completely has no idea what screen printing is or what our business is or what we do, but they only had a glance on a website to kind of get to understand our culture. So,
which is great. I think like that's the reaction that you want, right? Like, like something to spark conversation, about these issues. That's, that's what, the brand that I talked about earlier, that's really like what it was about, right? You had these graphic tees with just, like these huge sayings on them and stuff. But, like one of them said, some dudes marry dudes, get over it. You know what I mean? Like, but, people would, depending on where you were, right, it would always start a conversation. Most cases, positive ones. Sometimes it was a negative one. You know what I mean? Like everybody doesn't agree, with that statement. But, it definitely sparked conversations. And I think, this logo and branding will do that, and again, like most likely, as we discussed, we did the, we did a podcast with another,
Screen Printing Magazine,
and somebody didn't like that, that we're having a conversation, about, LGBTQ owned shops, and of course they immediately. It wasn't nice, right? But they immediately related it to sex, which is nothing. You know what I mean? It's like they can't separate, like being gay, or LGBTQ and just, being a minority, no matter what it is, like running a business and how like you may be affected by being one, Sure. So, and I think it takes balls for, in industry leaders like Rana and ROQ and, screenprinting.com to be like so forward and like put it so prominently out there. Again, because I know as much support you're going to get, there's going to be people that'll have like something nasty to say about it. So, like, I thank you, I thank you for, creating, like this movement and, it's, every time that we talk, it's great to hear that like you have large companies within our industry reaching out to you, wanting to be involved and what, that have been looking for, for some, something like this. So I think it's awesome,
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying what you said too, Ross. I think it's a very big point that we frequently don't talk about, but I mean, both of you have had your own businesses. Mike, still, you have your business here. I mean, you both know what it's like as an employee and as a business owner, what it's like when you don't feel welcome where you're working. And nobody
Absolutely.
does the job that they could in that scenario. And that's what I hope to see for sure, is just this sense of wherever you go, if you see that, you feel safe to do your best work.
Absolutely. And I'm going to piggyback real quick before we go to a commercial break on, Mike's point about this kind of getting into the hands now of some other, big industry players, and we've got some more people onboarding. And I know we've talked about ROQ.Together a lot, and we've kind of touched on, the sort of change in this episode to U.N.I.T.E.Together. And, one of the reasons that we wanted to do that is this isn't a brand play. This isn't about ROQ. This is about making a change, in our industry, hopefully even outside of our industry. And so we really wanted to broaden that playing field to welcome, all of our quote competitors, end quote, our non-competitors, everyone else that's in this industry, to unite together, come together, be a part of the movement. Yeah. And that's why we pulled our brand kind of away to it. Well, there always will be ROQ.Together because it just sounds amazing. Who doesn't want to rock together, right? I mean, it just works. Yeah. But wanted to just throw that out for anyone else that's out there listening that wants to be a part of this. Check out the page, check out U.N.I.T.E.Together, read about it, and let us know if you want to be a part. And with that being said, we'll cut to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will talk more about printing with pride.
Did you know your new ROQ Fold, ROQ Stack, and ROQ Pack now comes with enough plastic for your first 10,000 expertly packaged garments? Rock your customers' minds with the same unmatched quality and experience they've come to expect with your quality fulfillment with every delivery to remain competitive in the markets you want to grow in. Rock your way online at ROQ.US or call 1-877-ROCKET now. That's 877-674-8669.
Want to welcome everybody back to ROQ Shop Talk, your one-stop ROQ shop where we talk all things screen printing. Today we are discussing printing with pride, and we are joined by Mike Kon of Synergy Media. I'm ROQ US President Ross Hunter, and alongside of us, as always, is our creative producer, Mr. Merrill Caps. Welcome back.
Cheers.
So we were just talking over the break about our new swag. So we've got our Unite hats. There we go. Available on our website. 100% of the proceeds go completely to a good cause that we have yet to determine, because we want the industry to determine that for us. But they are available, and we've got some shirts too. Merrill, I think you've got a shirt on.
Wearing these awesome prints that were done at our awesome partners over at Brand Marinade. You check that out. Oh, coming in. There you go.
Looks good. Yeah, looks good. And it's got the old logo. So eventually these will get changed out with the new ROQ US logo. Yeah. I love when you get a bunch of merch done and then you rebrand your whole company. It's fun. So it's OG,
Yeah, we have instant vintage.
Absolutely. So Mike, let's get into what's happening this weekend. So you got the tour bus. You're going to New York City Pride.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what's happening there? So
Sure.
Tell everyone, what's going on? What are you guys doing?
So this weekend we have, as you mentioned, New York Pride. Prides are traditionally celebrated in the month of June, and it stems back to the Stonewall riots, which were kind of like the beginning of the gay liberation movement. If that's what you want to call it. A Stonewall Inn was raided by the police in, I believe, 1969, and then a bunch of LGBTQ community members, created a protest that ended up violent, with the police. So ever since then, in June, people celebrate Pride, by throwing these, huge, celebrations. New York is one of the biggest ones in the world. So we're leaving tomorrow morning and driving out in our cool tour bus, which is parked right outside. And we're going to have a SUV follow it, because navigating downtown Manhattan in a tour bus is not going to be feasible. So we're going to right outside, on the other side of the bridge. We found an RV park where we're going to park the bus, and then we'll use the SUV to go into town. But Saturday from 11 to 6 is the Pride Street Festival, which is like a big street festival with vendors and food and bunch of stages, with music and performances, as well. I believe it starts at either 9 or 10 is the Pride Parade. And, New York one is like huge. It's probably 4 or 5 hours long. Wow. But it's just, it's a really cool for community organizations and, churches and huge corporate partners and, all kinds of, LGBTQIA groups and organizations, as well as allies, to kind of show their support. So, we're going to be out there. We're going to be at the festival. We're usually we do about 40 to 45 prides throughout the year with some of our brands. So that's what we'll be doing there.
So you guys set up like a vendor booth, yeah. And are you selling like shirts then? I mean, printed merch,
so it's a range of product. Originally it used to be just just t-shirts and stuff, but over the years we've kind of expanded that into stuff that tend to be popular at the as time goes by. It should be a really good time. I'm excited. I told the guys, I'm the festival is on at 6, so we have to find some trouble to get into afterwards.
That won't be hard to find in Manhattan, I don't think.
No, not at all. And we're lucky they just lifted all their restrictions last week. So wow. It should be it should be a good time.
That's cool, man.
So on this note then of you guys are setting up a booth, you're printing, you've got merch. We know every year, Pride Month's celebrated, and there's a lot of companies that, jump on the bandwagon in terms of apparel. You'll see Facebook blow up with, different ads and, everyone's selling, Pride merch. Everyone's changing their Facebook profile picture, which is awesome because it's great to see people personally do that and show support. And there's definitely a lot of good organizations out there that proceeds, can go to or advertise to go to or whatever the case may be. I know Vogue just put out a piece that's got the 18 Pride purchases that will actually make a difference, to the community and make change, right? So are there any, I guess, for people that are interested and they want to show their support in some way, are there some red flags or things that people should be looking out for when they're actually, wanting to show support, but really wanting to make a difference and not getting taken by just, some company that's out there, selling you something and
Sure.
just taking the profit and it's not going anywhere good?
I mean, honestly, I think it goes to say for any, like nonprofit or, for-profit company that claims to be donating money to nonprofits, like you just have to do like your background check, like there, for nonprofits, there are great websites that you can go to like get really like in-depth kind of like ratings on, like what they are. And you can see from how much money that, their like C-suite makes to, how much money that actually like, how much of each dollar goes to the cause rather, what I mean? And sometimes you'd be surprised by, it's kind of like insane, like some of the largest nonprofits in the world, like 80% of the, like each dollar goes to marketing, you know what I mean? So,
right.
I would just encourage everybody to, do some digging up. I mean, like we're lucky to live in an age where, like just a Google search, like will lead to, a lot of information. So, like if you're interested in something, I would say just, like check them out, like see, if they have reviews, check out the reviews and see, like what the feedback is, is from people. I know, like in the past when we ran our big campaigns, we would just like, like on our website, we had kind of like a news section and we would post the actual receipts, right? Like when we would make a donation, we would post like, like a screen capture of the donation, or, often we'd get letters back from the nonprofits that we, donated to. So, like we would upload, those. I mean, but, I think, no matter what, there's always going to be somebody that's going to try to profit from whatever it is, whether it's like genuine, like out of kind of like, true like desire to help and do something, and it comes from people that are the actual true like allies or supporters of the cause, and you're going to have those that they just look at it as money, right? They're like, they can go, I mean, and it happens at Pride festivals, I see these booths, like with all this, like rainbow like tchotchkes, literally, like stuff that they purchased like overseas for like nothing, you know what I mean? And you can tell that like they're there purely to make money. You know what I mean? Like there's no, you can just tell, but
right.
And I think
what are the, I mean, are there some like nationally recognized organizations that you're a part of, or that you could, tell people if they are wanting to donate or purchase something or be a part that you guys have used in the past that is just a good resource for folks to have?
Sure. So, as far as kind of like LGBT, Q organizations go, like you have the Trevor Project, which is a, suicide prevention hotline based out of California that does great work. They actually have an office in New York as well, but great work done by them. You have the HRC, the Human Rights Commission and stuff that, advocates kind of like, politically for gay rights, those would probably be kind of like a couple of the, like the biggest ones out there. Often, there'll be, state or like citywide, like LGBT, like centers and stuff, that do, like in New York, it's Heritage of Pride that's who puts Pride together. So, so there's all, whether you want to donate like nationally or locally, there are always kind of like options,
Sure. And so so you guys are going there, but we're also bringing the Unite and Rock Together movement at Pride. And I think it's so exciting. So how close are you all going to be to the Stonewall Inn? Are you going to be in Greenwich Village? And
so to be honest with you, I like they kind of like changed the layout of where the Pride is. We're not too far away. But they this year they've changed the location of the festival and stuff, which I kind of like just skimmed over. So I need to kind of like look at it again. It's it's in Chelsea.
You're printing U.N.I.T.Together, Rock Together shirts, and you're going to hand those out to various people at the event. I think that's so cool. Can you tell us about the design and like what your print process is going to be like for that?
Sure. So, our equipment is not as big as, the actual, design, because the full design has the new Pride flag, which includes, people of color and transgender, individuals. So that added 4 colors. So, what we're going to kind of like simplify the design and print the old Pride flag, which is just, like the full rainbow. But, most likely, like we'll end up, discharging. We have some organic cotton all made tees. So we're going to,
Nice.
discharge the base and then, like print the rainbow on there.
That's so cool.
That's awesome, man.
Definitely going to need photos of that for sure.
Well, luckily we've got a film crew with them, I think unless Mike gets them in too much trouble, I think we'll get some good footage and some good photos that we'll be able to share out. Well, let's take another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will wrap up the episode of Printing with Pride. We'll be right back.
We know you want to continue to stay in the forefront of the industry, but there are several variables to consider when determining the best time for your business to automate. We believe your attention is too valuable to be lost to this concern, which is why we worked with our incredible partners like you to develop the first ever Automation Ready Score. Visit ROQ.us to receive your free Automation Ready Score today and press onward.
I want to welcome everybody back to ROQ Shop Talk, your one-stop rock shop where we talk all things screen printing. Today we are discussing printing with pride with Kon of Synergy Media. I'm ROQ US President Ross Hunter, and alongside of us, as always, is our creative producer, Mr. Merrill Caps. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And right back into it. So, Mike, from your perspective, both as a consumer and producer of Pride-related products, what's been your experience for the role of T-shirts in advocacy over the years, and how do you think it's changed?
I mean, if we used to, like for us, we used to say that, like our T-shirts act as mini billboards, like for change, right? I think
absolutely.
It's literally a walking billboard that you have that, it's a conversation starter. So I think that with the right messaging, it can be like, it's huge, right? It like that's why people use apparel so much, when they're trying to, like get a message out there, right? Like when you see, pink tees that, like with like pink ribbons, that it's the, the Komen Foundation. I mean, there are certain iconography that just synonymous, right? Or color waves, that are synonymous, we know exactly, with different movements or organizations. So, and I think apparel definitely is one of the best ways to convey that, right? And again, it moves with you. So
awesome.
I find apparel is huge. And the other big one that I actually notice maybe more than anything are, and I don't want to call them bumper stickers because they're not, but stickers that people put on their car. It's like for someone to put it on the back of their car or front of their car, wherever they put a sticker on their car. I mean, that, it's a 40, 50, whatever, however much money they spent on their car, maybe $1,000. But the point is that's how they get around and everyone sees it. So totally. It's you can't hide it. Right. So it's been interesting. I've noticed kind of that progression over the years of stickers becoming a very, very, very prominent way to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. Totally. It's interesting.
And I think, for those that don't want to, ruin, their fancy car, like you have those magnets that look like a sticker, but at least, you can remove it easily. And as you said, some people are like all about them. Sometimes you pull up behind a car and you see like the car covered with, all kinds of like, cool messaging, but sometimes they're just like, the HRC logo is a blue square with 2 yellow equal lines. And it's, kind of like inconspicuous, right? But like if you're somebody that's LGBTQIA, like, that person is part of the community, right? So,
absolutely.
It's not a big rainbow flag that kind of like everybody knows what it is, right? So,
sure.
Yeah, it's cool how that's changed.
Yeah. No. where do you see our industry for the rest of the year ahead, and what are you most excited about for your business and screen printing and activism as a whole?
I mean, personally, I think we're seeing kind of like the restoration of civility in, at least again, coming from the top. So, I think we have a man, as a president that regardless of what your, political affiliation is, that everybody can agree that cares. And, I hope that over the next 4 years and hopefully 8 years, we really kind of like see, like that part of, his cabinet spill over into like just the world in general. You know what I mean? It's, the last 4 years were kind of rough if you were any kind of minority. I felt that no matter where you fell on, on the spectrum, you were attacked at one point or another, whether you were, part of the LGBTQ community, whether you were African American, whether you were Asian, whether you were disabled. I mean, literally, I feel like at some point somebody was attacked in a very public way, which is, if you think about it, just insane. So, being able to kind of see return to normalcy and hopefully again, compassion, come from people is really refreshing. We've due to our customers and, kind of the customer base that we serve, we've been fortunate enough not to be too affected by, COVID. I know we're in minority, but, knock on wood, that's, that's been the case. So, I'm just, now with things kind of returning to some sort of normalcy, I'm excited to be around people, just, just have that human interaction that we, we kind of lacked for a year and a half. I'm a big people person, and that for me, that was you could, in Ohio, you could go out to a restaurant or go out to the bar, but you had to remain seated in one spot. And the only reason that you could get up is to use the restroom. So it just, just bizarre, naturally I want to kind of walk around and chat with people, and you couldn't do that. So, I'm excited to travel. I'm excited, to kind of see what happens with this movement, and how quickly, not just the industry, but, individual shops, start adopting what we're doing. Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome. So I have a follow-up question on our rebranding that I pointed out earlier on our merch here that's now OG. So, when we went through the rebrand, it was really important from a tagline perspective to kind of not only inject, U.N.I.T.E. into our culture, but inject that into our tagline and what we're really about, which, most people would say we sell people equipment, but we don't. We do so much more than that. And so our new tagline is your partner in print. So I wanted to know, Mike, just from your standpoint of being involved in a lot of the stuff that we've got going on here, obviously you're driving our bus, man, which is super cool. What does it mean to you to really trust ROQUS as your partner in print? What does that mean as a consumer?
For us, it's been huge, and we talked about it, earlier when we were, recording some stuff, about the shop is, the team that you guys have, setting aside the equipment, which I think is amazing. And obviously that's the choice that we made to go with, but the team that you guys have at ROQUS, the support that we receive, and, obviously the kind of the personal relationship that we've developed with, with Ryan and some of you, over the years is really huge, to be honest with you, even if the equipment was not that great, the level of support that we get through you guys, to me, is worth it. So, we've been lucky, and I don't know if lucky or just that's how it is, but we've never had issues with any of our presses. They're our oldest one, just 5 years old, 6 years old. It's up to 1.3 million impressions on there, and again, no issues at all. Easy to maintain, easy to operate, easy for our staff to learn how the machine works. It's very kind of like easy to operate. But like I said, with ROQ, again, it just, I love, it's our vibes. you know what I mean? Just
I like that. Yeah.
Align, so, whenever, if you go to any trade show, like, the ROQ booth is like the booth to be at, that's where all the fun people are. So
we hope to see
thank you. We're already working on our big plans for Long Beach next year. We've got some fun surprises for people. So hopefully you can make it out, Mike.
Oh, absolutely.
It will be a good party for sure.
One for the
Well, cool. I want to get this just kind of wrapped up here for the day. I know you've got a shoot going on. I've got a newborn that I just heard upstairs. Hopefully the audience didn't get too interrupted by that, but she definitely sounded like she was hungry. But kind of want to wrap up, let the audience know, Mike, where they can find Synergy Media, what's your website, how people can find you on social. And then just kind of, one takeaway that everyone that's listening can have about you and your company and, you guys' kind of mission, in what you're doing with print for social change.
Sure.
That was kind of a long mouthful, but
yeah, I was like, am I going to remember all of it? No, so you can find us either at synergymedialtd.com or ecoprintlab.com. That's really kind of like, like a main way of getting a hold of us. And honestly, our goal has always to provide quality, and be accessible, to our customer base without any kind of judgment. I think that, we've been fortunate enough to do some stuff that has made a difference and has raised awareness and, has started conversations about, some inequalities that happen in our, daily lives. We've been able to, because of that, make substantial donations. I think we've, over the years, we've been able to donate about $245,000.
That's awesome.
So, but, again, none of that would be possible without people that, that support us and support the brand. So, if you have the opportunity to, to do something good, just do it. We were lucky enough to be invited, by you guys. Specifically Ryan, to be part of, All-Made, and we're one of the, All-Made, founding companies, and that's been a great, fulfilling experience. And, I hope we get to do more of that stuff. So.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here with us today. I wish you the best of luck on your travels to Manhattan with the bus. Feel free to call me if you guys can't figure anything out. I bought it. I was part of restoring it, and I do know where all the little buttons and weird things are in there. So if you have problems along the way, feel free to reach out. But again, all you listening, to Mike's point, if you've got something good you can do, just do it. That I think one big takeaway out of this entire conversation is that if you can do some good in the industry with your family, with your friends, whatever it is, it's infectious. It goes a long ways, and we need that right now more than ever. So thank you for that message. We all can. We're all capable, for sure. So with that, I want to thank everyone for listening. We continue to be here to be your partner in print and continue to press onward, and we'll see you next time. Rock on.
Safe Pride.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Take care.
Heartfelt thanks to Mike Kon for joining us today. As always, thank you for spending time with us this week, and thank you for trusting us as your partner in print. Tune in at your convenience wherever you listen to your podcast by searching ROQ Shop Talk. Our next episode will discuss automated fulfillment. If you'd like to request to be on the show, please visit roq.us/ROQ Shop Talk. If you found today's episode helpful, please recommend it to a friend who you think may find it helpful as well. Please like, share, and subscribe on social media. Until next time, rockers, press onward.